Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the special presentations of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley on January 18th, 2022. We do have, actually, I call the special presentations meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. We're going to have three presentations today, three special presentations. One is the recognition of musician Pedro Fregoso. And Councilmember Cabrera will speak and present the certificate of recognition to Pedro. And then we're going to have a recognition of our business community, of some folks in our business community that have done great things in our city. One is a recognition of Rattan for his contribution, and then also acceptance of the Amazon, of the MoVal Learns program donation in Amazon for all of their hard work as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Councilmember Cabrera to recognize Pedro.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and good evening, buenas tardes to everyone. Welcome to our special presentations here in the city of Moreno Valley. Tonight, we want to recognize a few individuals, but we're going to start with the extremely talented Pedrito Fregoso. Pedrito has proven to be a musical prodigy at a very young age, starting at 4 years old. He showed a lot of passion for performing. His talents were recognized in 2020 as he was named the winner for the 2020 Mariachi Vargas Extravaganza vocal competition. Pedrito continues to develop himself as an artist, showing his dedication to music through his studies and mentorship with musical director and Grammy Award winner Chuy Guzman. Pedrito has become a well-rounded student, artist, and multi-instrumentalist, playing the trumpet, the harp, the guitarrón, and of course, singing. Just this past December, Pedrito was invited as a special guest to perform at our state capitol's Christmas tree lighting ceremony with Governor Newsom and the First Lady. He also collaborated with a nonprofit organization to give away toys for Christmas to those children in need. Pedrito's heart for music has manifested into a growing love for community and giving back. He continues to depict his love for family and hometown, even as his musical career takes off. And, you know, he's a hometown hero. He lives right here in our community, and he's representing us well up and down the state. And I believe out of that performance that he gave at the state capitol, he also hopefully soon will be singing live at Dodger Stadium. So he's doing an absolutely amazing job. And it's a great joy to recognize Pedrito tonight, who's joined by his amazing manager and mother as well. So here to accept the award and recognition is Pedrito and his family. And the certificate reads as follows. On behalf of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Moreno Valley, this certificate of recognition is awarded to Pedrito Fregoso for your display of musical talent and artistic excellence at the 2021 State Capitol Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony. The City of Moreno Valley is immeasurably fortunate to have you represent our youth, and with a warm heart, we wish you a very happy 13th birthday. Pedrito's birthday was actually on January 17th, just yesterday. So happy birthday to you, Pedrito. And would you care to share a few words, Pedrito? I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for the certificate and all the
opportunities
that the City of Moreno Valley has given me to perform everywhere. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pedrito. Really appreciate it. And we'll make sure to get you your certificate. And congratulations again. I think at this time, I'll turn the floor back to Mayor Gutierrez.
Great, thank you. Do we have a copy of the certificate just to show it with us? If not, we can, we'll go ahead and send it to you. Okay, we'll go ahead and send it to you, Pedrito. Okay, but again, thank you for being here, and happy birthday as well, okay? All right, our next special presentation will be recognition of Rattan and his great work, and I believe he's here as well. It's an exciting day because tonight we're going to recognize a visionary, someone that's not only a business owner, but also a real estate developer. He has dedicated his talents to the city of Moreno Valley, developing residential communities, especially communities for seniors, industrial buildings, retail shopping centers, professional office buildings, medical clinics, medical offices, and acute care medical centers. His contributions have impacted the city of Moreno Valley in a magnitude of ways, most importantly, by increasing the livelihood of our residents. As an architect, Al's expertise displays through simplicity, attention to detail, proportion, and use of materials. And just to give you an example, he developed those apartments right off of LaSalle near the college. And I remember he told me that the way he faced the apartments was that way, which was north, or actually, was it? Yeah, actually, it's west. So then that way, the residents on the other side can see it looking like similar to homes. So he has that key to detail. So it's great recognition there. He also, the city also recognizes his work and dedication to the professional team from Renaissance Builders and everything that they have placed in our city. So, Al, you have been, in the city of Moreno Valley developing a lot of projects. We appreciate you, and we have a plaque. Let me see if it shows, because sometimes it doesn't show on the computer too well. There we go. We have a plaque that we're going to send you, okay, with your name on it, and then also a certificate of recognition as well for your hard work. Would you like to say a few words, Al? No, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. It is an honor to receive this award. We have been investing in Moreno Valley since 2009, and having been in business now for a long time, it's a pleasure to see the absolute growth of the city. And we look forward to shortly commencing on phase 2 of Continental Villages, and then the retail. We expect to commence that in the spring. And we have very much over the years appreciated the support the city has given us on our Renaissance Village Rancho Balago senior project. And we want to thank you for your efforts and hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it, and thank you for being here as well. And again, thank you for your service in giving back to the city of Moreno Valley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another employer, actually also in the city of Moreno Valley, that has given back a lot in our community is Amazon. And one of the things that they've done actually tonight is they've contributed over $100,000 to the Mobile Learns program. So the Mobile Learns program is a program of the Mayor's Challenge program that was started a couple years ago. And this is basically a program where we provide monthly stipends to at-risk college students throughout the year. And we also provide them with wraparound services throughout the year as well. And the program has been so successful in helping over 50 students every semester. And this $100,000 actually funds a complete year, a complete academic year. So once I heard about this, I was just shocked, that Amazon was going to donate $100,000. I mean, it's just so generous for them to do. And I hope that other companies will take this on as well. It basically, what the program does, in addition to the monthly stipends, it allows students to earn while they learn. So instead of just going to work and then or just learning and going to college, they can actually do both and not have to work as many hours. So it's a great local program that helps students here locally at Moreno Valley College. And I'm so honored that Miss Marie Lloyd is here with Amazon tonight. And I do want to mention that we have a certificate as well for Amazon. But before that, actually, I wanted to play a video. Tim, do we have the video available?
Yes, sir. We're going to play that right now.
Okay. I think there's audio that goes with it too. but we may, I'm not hearing the audio.
Bob, can you restart that video with the audio, please?
It's been a while since we've done Zoom again. So little hiccups here and there, but that's okay.
Of course, it worked when we tested it, but let's try it again here.
Yeah, no worries. And then while you do that, I'll look for the certificate.
Bob, it may be a setting. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and play it.
Getting it?
There we go.
He says he got it now.
Mhm.
I wanted to say thank you so much, Amazon, for the generous donation you made to the program. For me personally, Marine Valley Learners has completely changed my perspective on what this community can provide for us college students. But from the bottom of my heart, from someone that absolutely understands the value of how important a program and an organization like this is, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I just want to thank you, Amazon, for your donation. It not only helps me financially, but it also helps other students who are in the same program and many residents of Moreno Valley. Thank you once again.
And I want to thank you, Amazon, for donating to a great program. It will benefit me and my fellow peers greatly. Thank you, Amazon, for your donation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you to Amazon for your great donation. Mobile Learns has helped me and will help many other students just like myself.
The Mobile Learns program has helped me pay for my education, whether that's for courses, textbooks, or parking. I'm really grateful for everything that they've been able to help me out with. I would like to thank you, Amazon, for your generous donation. The Mobile Learns program is not only helping financially for school, but thanks to you, many students, including myself, will be much more successful in our education. We really do appreciate it. Thank you again.
Hello, I'm Yvette Terrier, and I would like to thank Amazon for donating to the Mo Valley Learn program. This will benefit me and my fellow peers. Thank you, Amazon, for donating.
I would like to thank Amazon company for their generous gift. We are thrilled to have your support. This is not only beneficial for me, it will give support lots of students like me. Thank you again, Amazon company, for your donation.
I would like to thank Amazon for the donation. Mobile Learn has helped me and my fellow peers financially. It's a great program. I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
All right. And just so everyone knows as well, let me see if we can see it. We did receive the check. Hopefully it's not upside down, but there we go. We did receive the $100,000 check. So thank you so much to Amazon. And I'd like to turn it over to Marie Lloyd from Amazon, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. 2022 continues to be an unprecedented year for our students. And so I'm so glad we got to hear from a few of them today. That they are why I and Amazon are so proud to partner with the city of Moreno Valley and Mobile Learns to make higher education more accessible and more affordable. Once again, California led the way by making community college free for first-time full-time students, but we all know too well that the cost of housing, transportation, food, and other basic necessities continue to put strains on our students who are investing in themselves and in their career pathways. I applaud the mayor, the city council, and leadership at Mobile Learns for stepping up for these students and for the community that Amazon calls home. We have more than 7,000 Amazonians who live and work in Moreno Valley, and they all benefit from the commitment Amazon has made to lifelong learning. At Amazon, we pay for our frontline employees, all 750,000 of them, to get their high school diplomas, GEDs, and ESL proficiency. We will also cover the full cost of college, including tuition, books, and fees. That's why today, and I'm so glad you got your check, because just in case I have a backup, but maybe that means we have another 100,000 somewhere to underwrite the program for the next year. So thank you again for your partnership and all of you for your leadership. Congratulations to the students. I'm so excited to see what they can achieve.
Thank you, Marie, so much for the kind words. And I do want to share, if you ever want to take a trip, to visit some of the students, please feel free to let us know. We'd be happy to do that, because sometimes, like the students were able to mention, how it was so beneficial to them. It's so powerful to hear it from them as well. And a few times that I've gone over to the college, and I've just heard the students tell me how beneficial the program is. I mean, it literally almost brings you to tears. That's how great the program is, and it's really helped. So if you ever are in
I'll
town,
take you up on your offer when we can get off of these screens.
yes, absolutely. So again, there is a certificate of recognition as well for Amazon that we'll be sending to you as well, Marie, and to Amazon. I'd like to thank everyone that's here tonight, also the council members as well. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do these great programs and have great people like you as well. And we'll make sure to get these awards out to you, to each of you. Again, have a great evening, and our meeting will start at 6 p.m., our regular city council meeting. Thank you. Good night.
Congratulations, guys.
Hold on. All right, there we go. Okay, right when I was ready, then it froze. Okay. All right, well, good evening and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City of Successor Agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council does receive a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this regular City Council meeting to order on January 18th, 2022 at 6 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by myself, and we'll go ahead and start there. I don't know if we have a flag that we can maybe possibly put. Okay, well, let's go ahead and just do the Pledge of Allegiance and just pretend there's a flag. Okay, there we go. Okay, thank you. All right, there we go. Okay, right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Okay. That was a little awkward there just by myself, but we'll go ahead and start. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Oh, sorry.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Cabrera,
I'm here.
Councilmember Delgado,
Here.
Mayor Gutierrez.
Here.
Let the record reflect Councilmember Marquez is absent.
Okay, staff introductions, please.
Pat Huck is not a city clerk.
Stephen Quintanilla, interim city attorney.
Mike Lee, city manager.
Brian Mohan, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Ben Kim, Assistant City Manager, Development Services.
Manuel Mancha, Community Development Director.
Michael Lloyd, Public Works Director, City Engineer.
Jeremy Bubnick, Parks and Community Services Director.
Captain John Salisbury, Chief of Police.
Jesse Park, Fire Chief.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. The city is currently offering Spanish translation services, so if anyone is interested in this feature, please let us know and we can go ahead and do that for you. Before we do hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone to keep their comments respectful towards each other, especially towards the individuals that are speaking. We embrace and support the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and share his or her views about issues concerning our city. Finally, I ask that speakers bear in mind that comments are limited to 3 minutes for each speaker, depending on how many speakers we have, and that you refrain from duplicating comments already made by others, other than to note that you agree with the comment. We will take public comments on matters on the agenda, and non-agenda items will be taken up at this time since there's no general business items tonight, only public hearing items. So if you want to speak on any agenda item or non-agenda item, this would be the moment to do so. So any person wishing to address the mayor, myself, and the city council on any matter must follow the teleconference procedures by first clicking the raise hand icon and waiting to be identified to speak by myself or the city clerk. Members of the public may be limited to 3 minutes per person or the allowed time set by the mayor. I also may establish an overall time limit for comments on a particular agenda item. Members of the public must direct their questions to myself and not to the other members or to the whole council as a whole, the applicant, the staff, or the audience. In order to preserve the meeting decorum, council and staff will not respond during public comments, but we will respond later towards the end of the meeting. All right, Madam Clerk, how many speakers do we have? And remember, this is not, so we want to exclude the F1 and F2. So that means if you're here to speak about the warehouse project or the housing project, now would not be the time because there will be a moment to speak on that later on. So
We have 11 on non and agenda items on the list. We do have some people that if they can check their and rename themselves, if they have guest 1 through 6 and Daniela Sanchez, if they can please rename themselves so we can know that it's them when we call them.
Okay. What we can do is, and I'm assuming too, since it's been kind of a while since we've come back to Zoom, maybe some people that we're going to speak on F1 probably put their name down for agenda and non-agenda items. So we'll just call their name, and then if it's on the project or anything like that, I'll just let them know that it'll be for F1 or F2. Okay, so let's go ahead and call the first three speakers. And
George Haig, Susan Zeitz, and David Zeitz.
Okay, so again, this is to speak not on the projects.
Mr. Haig, can you hear us?
You have not entered any numbers.
Hello, this is George Haig.
Hi, George.
Hello. Couple of concerns I have is a year ago, we had a system in which for 2 weeks prior to a hearing, documents went out, everything that you have to read, the thousands of pages that the public has to read, was made available for that 2 week period prior to the hearing. What you're doing now with 3-4 days for thousands of pages of reading is not acceptable.
George? George?
Yes.
Just really quick, if you could stop the time. If it's related to the hearing, I'm going to ask you to speak just at the hearing item.
I'm not speaking at a hearing. I'm talking about the fact that the city needs to go back to a system that we used to have not that long ago, where all the
Go ahead and start the
documents
time back.
put out to the public. And we need to go back to that system for not only your sake, to give the reasonable decision making that you need to go through. I think today you've got thousands of pages to read. The one last time you had maybe 10,000 pages to read. And that means the public likewise has to do that within 3 or 4 day period. And if you're a working person, it makes it almost impossible to do. I would also hope at some point you would make it so that the schools were a priority in this city. I realize you're a teacher. I'm also a retired teacher. I'm finding out more and more that students are not a priority in this school, in our city, from what is happening at the city council level. I wish you would talk more to the superintendent and find out maybe something that he realizes needs to be done and get that done. There was a survey that came out on the general plan in which people actually wrote comments, not just filling in a bubble or something. They actually wrote out comments. 500-600 of those comments were made available to you. It was almost like the city didn't want people to see all those hundreds and hundreds of comments. I would hope you would go back and look at those comments and make decisions based on those comments. They're very worthwhile. You need to make sure. I also am concerned that the city has some staff members, not most, some staff members who think that a developer can look at a piece of land and say, I want to develop that. That happened on a warehouse project where it was zoned for homes. And I asked the person in charge of the city at the time, why are you allowing this to go through? It's on land zoned for home and near homes. And the city head of this planning department said at the time, because that's what the developer wanted. We should not allow such things to go on. Just because a developer wants to develop on a piece of land, our city should have standards and say, no, our general plan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next speaker, please.
Susan Zeitz, I don't see her on here. She raised her hand.
Okay, I do see David.
I do see David Zeitz, but I don't see Susan Zeitz. Mr. Zeitz, is Ms. Zeitz going to speak?
You're mute. Oh, it looks like he's not muted. We can't hear you, David. And we still can't hear you. Who was the next speaker, Pat?
David Zeitz and Tom Thornsley.
Okay.
Mr. Thornsley, if you could raise your hand so we can let you speak.
Okay, I think David's is working now. I think I just saw his box highlight. David? Can you hear us, David? Okay, we'll come back to him.
David,
We'll
if you're on
go
a
to-
mobile, you may have your sound on silent. That could be the issue, sir.
Okay, we'll go to Tom Thornsley and then we can come back.
Mr. Thornsley, if you could raise your hand so we can, or unmute yourself so we can. Not, I don't know if he's one of the guests.
Okay. Well, he can hear us or no? Tim? Okay, who's the next speaker, Pat?
Ralph Velador.
Okay, Ralph?
Okay.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm here to speak for item F1.
Okay, so we'll just, when we get to that item, we'll go ahead and call on you for that item, okay?
Mayor,
Okay.
I believe David Zeitz is ready again, sir. I see now his audio signal is active.
Okay.
David, go ahead and unmute.
We'll go back. We'll go back to David.
R6. Sorry about that.
Hi, David. No, we're not hearing him. Okay. We'll
Sorry.
go.
His phone might
Okay.
be actually. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. That's okay. We'll just move on. Who are the next speakers?
Fred Bañuelos, followed by Elmer Thomas.
Okay, Fred.
Fred, are you one of the guests? If you could raise your hand.
And I saw Fred on here too. Let me see where. I saw him. He was here earlier. Okay, we'll come back to Fred as well. Who was the other speaker?
Elmer Thomas.
Okay, Elmer. I don't see.
Gerald.
I don't see him on here.
Tom Gerald isn't on here either.
Okay.
And then Elena Santa Cruz.
Okay, Elena.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, you're on.
Go ahead. Okay. Good evening. I'm Elena Baca, Santa Cruz, and I'm running for City Council.
And then just 1 second, Elena. Pat, can you put the time? Thanks. Okay.
They're over?
Okay. Appreciate. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I know we're all getting used to this Zoom, and I appreciate that we're shut down and thinking about everybody's safety, thinking about the employees at the City Council and everybody else that we're protecting tonight. So I appreciate that. Again, I'm Elena Baca Santa Cruz, and I'm running for City Council in District 1. Currently the empty seat up on the dais between all the men. It's with great gratitude for everyone on the dais because you've helped me make this decision to run for the seat. Some of you because of your leadership and support, and some of you because of your lack of leadership and for the humiliation you've brought upon the city. My family has a long tradition of serving our community. My mother, Victoria Baca, held this seat for many years, and it's my honor to build on her legacy of compassion, advocacy, and helping our neighbors. As your council member, I pledge to focus on creating high-quality jobs right here in Moreno Valley, ensuring that all of our kids receive the education they deserve, increasing public safety through initiatives that address homelessness, response times, and adequate funding for training and equipment, making infrastructure improvements such as bettering our roads and infrastructure. I will work hard to restore trust in our local government, something that's critical to our city's long-term success. During my campaign, I will knock on every door that I can in District 1, meeting as many voters as possible, of course, while maintaining safe COVID-19 protocols. I'll also call voters and make myself available via Zoom, as we are tonight, to ensure that all local voices are accurately and powerfully represented.
My mother was a job creator and so am I. But I also bring with me a wealth of experience from my years as a union representative working in education. I'm committed to bettering the lives of all Moreno Valley citizens, and I'm ready to move our city forward into a stronger, better future. I'd be honored to have your vote for City Council in District 1. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Next speaker, please. Pat.
Roy Bleckert? Roy, is that you? Roy?
Can you hear me yet?
Yes, we can.
Finally got it of this.
Hi, Roy.
Greetings to everyone. I cannot express how disappointed I am over the decision to make this a Zoom meeting, and the part of that's going on to this is exactly why this should not happen. The technical difficulties and things of making this, and that you want this further discourages people from participating in their government, making it much more difficult to do that. This, to me, is a direct and even egregious violation of the spirit and the ruling in Baca versus MVUSD. When the Gestapo that is doing these same Zoom meetings and never open their meetings threw Victoria Baca off for redressing her government, her First Amendment right under the Constitution of the United States, and as a free person, and that should never be taken away. And it should never be made more difficult to do that. The statistics do not show, or do show, that there is no direct threat to us. When the CDC is saying masks don't work and vaccines don't work and the fourth booster doesn't work, the Omicron is doing it. Look at the Israeli studies and look at the damage that the Israeli minister said is being done by this. That are people with science and statistics for what's happening. And it's a travesty that's going on right here in our city from both of our major public officials. This should not stand. This should never stand. This should never be implemented. Trying to stroke the fires of fear to get people who will not, to discourage people to participate or make their opinions known. Now, I may disagree a lot with George Haig, but I want to hear what he has to say, and I want to hear him show up. I want to have him the ability to show up like everybody else. Like Victoria Baca should not have been kicked out of that meeting in 1996, and the court said yes. And it's a case that goes across, cited in many cases on free speech. Do not suppress the right of the people to speak. Do not make it more difficult for people to speak. That is one of your fundamental duties as elected public officials. And sadly, we in Moreno Valley are failing at that. And that is truly sad.
Okay, Pat.
Okay, Gianni?
Okay. Gina? I see a Daniela Sanchez speaking a little bit.
Miss Gianni?
I hear your phone in the background or something in the background noise. Gianni?
So I got it back.
Oh, who's that? Was that sounded like David? Okay, all right. David, we'll go ahead and have you speak.
Actually, I want to speak on F1. I don't want to open.
Oh, okay.
And they
Okay,
see-
no worries. So we'll save you for F1 and then just, but I'm glad you were able to get it back on.
Mr. Zeitz, can you also confirm for the public record that that is you?
That I'm what?
That you are David Zeitz?
Yes, I am David Zeitz.
Thank you, just confirming.
Okay, thanks. And then Gianni, is there no Gianni tonight? Okay. Pat, let's move on to the next speaker.
I think Mr. Bañuelos is in the queue now.
Okay. I don't see him on my screen.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Fred.
Hi. I'm not
Hi.
sure how this is working. I don't know if you can see me. So I hope my
we just see. I saw you earlier before the meeting started, but I can hear you and I see a logo.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go here. Give me a second, gentlemen, everybody, council member. At the beginning, I know this is Zoom, but if I really appreciate it if you would stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I know I'd probably see your shorts or maybe, if you're wearing shorts or your belly button, but please stand for the, when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate that. All right. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. The main thing that I talk about as a Moreno Valley resident is SB1. SB1 failed Moreno Valley. Senator Roth and Assemblymember Medina voted for SB1, and I will not support them in any re-election efforts if they decide to run for office again. I'm not sure if I have a timer. I don't see a timer, but I'm going to continue.
Yes, you do.
All right. SB1 is for road repairs, just a reminder. And on my car registration, for my truck registration, I pay an extra $110 transportation improvement fee. I also pay an extra $154 weight fee tax. I also pay another $53 BLF tax. And another thing that the SB1 does is everyone pays 51 cents per gallon for road repairs. Now, in the past, I asked our council members to go with me to our state representatives' offices and demand our SB1 money. No one took me up on my offer. Now, back in 2008, I'm finding that there was a proposed legislation advocacy platform. This was a way for the council members to show support or non-support for SB1. Councilmember Giba at the time voted no. Councilmember Baca voted yes. Mayor Gutierrez voted yes. And Councilmember Cabrera voted yes. And then Councilmember Marquez abstained. Again, SB1 has failed Moreno Valley. If it worked, we wouldn't need Measure G. And then don't forget, Measure G was put on the ballot by council members. And as you can tell, I'm not a fan of SB1. If you voted for it or supported for it, showed support for it, you basically lost my vote. So I would hope that you would help with getting more money to Moreno Valley. But it's just one of those things that upsets me. And again, if you voted for it or supported it, you lost my vote. Moreno Valley first. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
We have Mr. Thornsley available now. And then after Mr. Thornsley, Mr. Thomas.
Okay.
Can you hear me through that now?
Yes, we can. Yes. Hi,
Yay.
Tom.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just can't get my screen to stay up. I don't know what I wasn't doing right, but we're still we're still not doing F1, right? Is this public comments?
Yes, this is public comments on non-agenda and agenda items.
Thank
the F1 will be later. Yes.
Thank you. I'm pleased that you at least have given this a shot to try to continue to have the meetings when there's a lot of people who feel they need to be worried about their health. I'm appreciative of it because of family. So I applaud you for still doing it, despite some people having other opinions. Something that worries me about the city is that we pursue an awful lot of different things in the city without a conscientious effort as to the real merits of it. Obviously, item F1 is similar to something I'm concerned about, but it's also a concern for other places in the city where we're changing the general plan so quickly after we've just approved it. And it seems to me that we don't have a mechanism in place to kind of assure a continuity to the general plan in its existence. I really wish the city would adopt a regulation that would make it mandatory that before you could change anything in the general plan, after you, especially now after you recently adopted it, that you establish a policy or outright code requirement that it would take at least 4/5 of the council to vote in favor of changing the general plan. If it can be changed as simple as 3 votes, or in the case of tonight's meeting when there's only 3 council members and you could do a 2-1 vote, that would really be appalling that you're not involving 3/5 of the community and what they feel should be appropriate. So I'd love to put that forward to the community development director to look at putting together a standard that makes it mandatory, and it makes it a very consistent general plan, that we actually have a document that's worthy of what everybody put into it for 1.5 years, and that it suddenly can't be changed between tonight's meeting and 2 others that are on the agendas over the next month. That said, I think I'm done, and we'll talk later on item F1. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Thomas? Elmer Thomas?
Hello, testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, hi.
Hello, Mayor. Thank you
Hi,
for the
hi,
opportunity to speak here.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So my name is Elmer Thomas. I am a resident of District 3, and my purpose here is to call once again for the resignation of both Marquez and Cabrera, or have them recalled. For Marquez, main reason is abuse of power, compounded with his astounding ability to continue to lie and lie and lie. Fortunately, we were able to come to the last meeting and bring evidence of his lies, from him starting off saying, and the first time he spoke on the dais there about our accident, he said he wasn't there. Second time he said he was there but didn't speak to no one. Last time he said he was there but only spoke to the fire chief. So I don't know what to believe anymore, but now it makes sense now that I've observed him for a while and witnessed the horrendous Brown Act violation where Marquez and Cabrera tried to do a coup against the will of the voters. Nobody voted for Jimson, but yet they allowed a felon to get put in and put the whole city at risk. You know, Marquez said he didn't care about the Brown Act violation, but the Riverside DA sure did, and you all changed your tune real quick. Also, lack of competence. Both Cabrera and Marquez don't even know how to follow their own lawyer's advice. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a council person, but even I understood what was going on. I found it comical, dismaying, and distressing that Marquez didn't even know that he was voting his girlfriend out. That was probably one of the highlights of last year, to kind of demonstrate why that person should not be in power. His trust is forever broken. And the fact that Cabrera then co-signed and wanted to make that person mayor pro tem, that is equally disgusting, especially that they colluded before Victoria Baca was even laid to rest. We didn't forget any of that. We saw all of the negative energy your families brought to the table. And I personally will never forget. And I'm going to do all that I can to make sure that we get these corrupt scum out of there. I will make sure that every person that endorses either Cabrera or Marquez knows the truth about them, their lack of competence, their lack of judgment, their lack of ethics. And I'm surprised because Cabrera, he has an education. He should know what ethical behavior is, but apparently not. So I don't want my family or anyone associated with me to have this type of leadership showing this is the way that we should be in government. They're actually a very good case study on what's not right to do in government, but that's not what we want. I'm tired of our city being a laughingstock. I'm tired of these spineless cowards. When our Valley View cheerleaders were attacked in District 3, our council person disappeared. And Cabrera, he just gets, security guards to handhold him to the dais up there. Both of you are weak and should go.
Thank you, Elmer. Okay, Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
Yes, we have Gina Gianni.
Okay, we'll try one more time. Gina? Okay. Were there any other speakers, Pat?
Hello?
Yes,
Oh, there
Gina?
she is. Hey, Gina.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I had technical difficulties. So are we allowed to speak on those warehouses at this moment?
No, not yet. That one is on F1, which will be coming up shortly.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to speak on F1?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, we'll make a note of that. Thanks so much. Okay. All right. Any other speakers?
I think I saw Miss Seitz come on,
Okay.
but I don't see her in the list anymore.
Mrs. Eitz will speak on F1.
Okay. All right. And I think we have everybody else, right, Pat?
Yes, if we didn't call you, you're listed as a guest. If you could let us know your name. If you can add it in the question and answer in the bottom, we can rename you.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and any other speakers, Pat?
None.
Okay, I'm closing the public comments. We'll go ahead and go to the joint consent calendar, sections A through E on the agenda. If we can have that screen pop up. All items listed under the consent calendar, sections A, B, C, D, and E are considered to be, and then, okay, the motion to adopt the consent calendars is deemed to be a separate motion by each agency and shall be so recorded by the city clerk. At this time, if I can go ahead and see everyone's screen here, any council members that would like to have any items for questions or to be pulled. Let's see here, if you could raise your hand or just put your hand up like that and then I'll know. Okay. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you. And I just want to make a comment on item A8.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, so A8, just to make sure everybody is aware, is a grant that the city is receiving. It's always good. And this particular grant is specifically geared for enforcing our, if we could say, our tobacco laws here in the state and the city. So this grant is in the amount of $156,000, and that's going to go to our law enforcement agencies to help make sure that we're enforcing our tobacco laws, and those who shouldn't be purchasing those products are not purchasing them, particularly underage teenagers. And so just wanted to make sure that we pointed that out, because it's always good that we get grants, and I want to thank our staff for always keeping an eye out for these grants and making sure that we secure them. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for council to approve the consent calendar.
A motion to approve. This is
a motion made by Councilmember Delgado.
I'll second.
Okay, a second made by Councilmember Cabrera. We'll do a voice vote. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado.
Yes.
Mayor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion passes 3 ayes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to go straight to F1 here. Here we go. which is a public hearing item. So if you wanted to speak on this project or the warehouse project, you can. But first, we're going to have a report, a staff report. And then at the staff report, the staff will go ahead and provide a report. And then the applicant will provide a report. The applicant will have 10 minutes, and then the appellant will also have 10 minutes as well. So both will have 10 minutes each. And then the hearing will be open, and then we'll have public testimony. Depending on how many speakers, I may limit the amount of minutes, but we will allow everyone to speak, of course. Then we'll close the hearing, and then we'll do deliberation on that. So Pat, we'll go ahead and actually have a staff report from Manny Mancha, Community Development Director's Office.
Great, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. Item F1 will be presented by the Planning Division Manager, Sean Keller.
Okay. Just so everyone knows, we're on the staff report, and then we'll get to the applicant and then the appellant. Okay, Sean.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Just to confirm, you can see the PowerPoint presentation and not
Yes.
a dual slide screen.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see the PowerPoint.
All right. So good evening. The item before you this evening includes a general plan amendment, change of zone, tentative parcel map, and 2 plot plans for the construction of 2 light industrial buildings. There it goes. Okay. The 17.67 acres project site is located on the south side of Alessandro Boulevard, east of Frederick Street and west of Graham Street. At the Planning Commission on August 26, 2021, at their meeting, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended that the City Council approve the proposed project. The proposed project includes a request to amend the general plan land use designation from commercial to business park. Similarly, the project includes a change of zone from the community commercial district to the light industrial district. The proposed general plan land use and zoning are consistent with existing parcels and uses to the south of the project site. As previously mentioned, the proposed project includes 2 light industrial buildings, approximately 290,726 square feet and 98,877 square feet in size. The proposed project, as designed and conditioned, meets the development standards and the design guidelines of the city's municipal code. The proposed buildings incorporate a contemporary architectural design that incorporates both vertical and horizontal articulation and a variety of complementary high-quality materials. The proposed project, as designed and conditioned, complies with the standards of the city's municipal code. Therefore, pursuant to the Planning Commission recommendation, staff recommends the City Council approve the proposed project. Staff would note that comment letters on this project received prior to tonight's meeting were forwarded to the City Council. This completes staff's presentation. City staff, along with the applicants, Mark Bockley and Vicky Valenzuela, are available. Additionally, the project environmental consultants are available to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. We'll go ahead and have the applicant go ahead and do a 10-minute presentation. And actually, I stand corrected, there was no appellant for F1, so it's just the applicant.
Great. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Good evening. Vicky Valenzuela of Compass Danby Real Estate Partners, 523 Main Street, El Segundo, 90245.
And 1 second, let me just make sure we have the timer on, just so everybody sees it, just for transparency.
Sure.
Okay. Tim, can you put the timer on? Or Pat?
It's loading now. The Chrome window froze. Just 1 second.
Okay, no worries. Okay. we'll go ahead and start.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening. First and foremost, we'd like to thank staff for all of their hard work in shepherding this project through the review process. They've been extremely communicative and overall just great to work with. I've had the pleasure of being part of the Compass Danby team on several development projects, and I'd like to take this opportunity to briefly share a little bit about us. We are a local developer focused on infill industrial projects in the Inland Empire. We are a 4-person shop with an office in El Segundo and one in Palm Desert. We have been actively developing industrial properties since 2015 with numerous projects in Thousand Palms, Colton, Rialto, Fontana, and here in Moreno Valley. In considering this project, we respect and recognize the importance of Alessandro as a gateway into the city and the Civic Center area. We have assembled a team that has designed successful industrial developments in Moreno Valley, with the most recent development being located just across the street from City Hall at the northeast corner of Frederick and Bredea. We take the design process very seriously and have committed significant resources to satisfy the city's vision. From high quality architecture to thoughtful site design and extensive landscape improvements, we have worked hand in hand with staff over the past year to refine the project that you have before you. We are excited to be part of Moreno Valley and contribute to the positive growth of its community and businesses. We have a number of other infill projects in the entitlement process in Moreno Valley and are working through them in the same thoughtful manner and look forward to bringing them before you in the future. For the record, we have reviewed the staff report and conditions of approval and concur with staff's recommendations. At this time, I'd like to pass the mic over to my colleague, Mark Bockley, also of Compass Danby.
Thank you, Vicki. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, city manager, and staff. My name is Mark Bockley, and I'm a partner at Compass Danby Real Estate Partners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I am proud of this project. It embodies the best ideas and intentions of over a year of hard work and thoughtful collaboration by the city staff, architects, engineers, designers, the community, and our company. And in the near future, it has the potential to be the job site of our supportive union members from LIUNA, Carpenters, and NBEW. And thereafter, we hope it'll be the workplace for residents of this community. Our commitment to the positive growth of the city extends beyond this project. Our company supports a number of organizations that are active in Moreno Valley, including Big Brothers Big Sisters of Orange County and the Inland Empire, and Operation Safe House. We've also committed $1 million to the Moreno Valley Community Foundation, along with $500,000 towards grants and programs that support efforts, including zero emissions transportation, electric vehicles, and solar advocacy. Letters for this commitment of $1,500,000 have been presented to the city clerk, city attorney, and the planning staff. We listen to staff and to the community to design a project that not only suits its location, but enhances it. And by listening, we received a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission and no complaints from our neighbors. On behalf of the company, I'd like to thank you for your time this evening and also for considering this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and any council questions of staff?
I do not, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, I see a hand. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, and is this a time as well for questions of the applicant?
It's questions of just for staff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or did you
yes.
have any questions for the applicant?
I think either or can
Okay,
answer
go
the
ahead.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I was just curious in regards to the setbacks. From this project. I know that there's Alessandro directly to the north, and then some developments, to the north of the project across the street. So I was just wondering what the setback is from the parking adjacent to the building, all the way to the residential development to the north.
Councilmember Cabrera, are you looking for specific to the requirement or the actual measurement that they are actually providing, sir?
Correct. The measurement as proposed in the project. And how many feet, basically?
Okay. Julia, do you have that prepared and ready?
Just one moment, please.
Okay.
And then just for clarification, I believe you mentioned this, Mr. Bockley. Good evening to you. You mentioned that you did come to an agreement with our local trade unions. Did I understand that correctly?
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Yes, we will be working with LIUNA and with Carpenters. They were also present at the Planning Commission hearing and may be present this evening to voice their support. So we do have agreements with them. And we also have worked on every one of our projects in the Inland Empire with the National Brotherhood of Electrical Workers also.
Understood. Thank you. And just one other question as well for clarification, while our planning staff gets that number. I think also as part of the proposal and part of the application, you're going to build the buildings to LEED Silver standards?
That is correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. And I think other than the question about the setback, that's all the questions I have. So I'm not sure if Sean or Julia are ready.
Just one more moment, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
And then Pat, while she's preparing that, how many speakers do we have for this item?
16.
Okay.
And then we still have 3 people that we don't know their names, guest 3, guest 11, and guest 8. If they could please put their names on the question and answer or rename themselves, that would be helpful.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do is, since we have 16 speakers, we'll do 2 minutes each. Okay, Pat?
Yes, sir.
And then what we can do is take the public testimony now. And then once we get that information, that answer from Julia, she can just share that with us. So
that works.
Okay, so let's go ahead and call the first 3 speakers.
George Haig, Susan Zeitz, and David Zeitz. Mr. Haig.
You said
Susan.
You said it was
No,
George?
George Haig.
Okay.
So, hello.
So George, so first is George.
You need to give us more time when you cut our time in by a third.
Okay, it's 2 minutes, sir. Go ahead.
This project is in the middle of land zoned for commercial and is built with 2 more warehouses will happen because there's empty land on either side. And we're going to really end up with 3 warehouses instead of just 1, and the impacts of 3. You need to send a message to warehouse developers that our city will no longer allow warehousing across the street from homes and other sensitive receptors like schools, especially those that require a general plan amendment. Voting no will hopefully stop this project's plan to build 150 feet from a school. And it's not the building's location in relation to the school, it is the diesel trucks movement. So that's what you have to analyze. The Planning Commission vote is flawed because the developer and consultants and staff wrote that there was no school within a quarter mile, Had they known, their vote could easily have been much different. You, however, know this, and if you approve this project, you are purposely putting students and staff at risk from this project's pollution. Just because the developer and staff can show you a well-designed building doesn't stop the trucks impacting the health of students and staff. It's like lipstick on a dog. While the developer may promise to require trucks to head south to Cactus to 215 and State Route 60, there's no way, whatever limited enforcement we have, to know which project trucks are using our city's designated truck routes at Frederick and Eacock to more easily reach State Route 60. Our enforcement would need to operate 24/7. Those two state truck routes pass several schools. There are other places within our city that can accommodate warehouses as shown in our recently approved general plan and would significantly reduce impacts to families trying to enjoy their homes, yards, and schools, students, staff with their playgrounds and other sport fields. Do not let the developer dictate to our city what he wants, its location, and will not consider other more appropriate sites. The impact on schools.
Susan Zeitz and David Zeitz after, and then Roy Bleckert.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Susan Zeitz. I'm just tired of the number of developers who continue to try to develop properties for their own purpose and their own projects instead of trying to develop their projects on properties that are zoned appropriately for them. I'm opposed to the Compass Danby Centerpoint warehouse for all of the reasons George just stated regarding being too close to homes and schools and having the pollution caused by the diesel trucks driving past the additional 9 schools that were not in the city staff report and not addressed. The California Air Resources Board, CARB, has been ignored. They recommend a distance of 1,000 feet between warehouses and that type of homes or schools because of the diesel traffic and the sensitive receptors that the homes and schools represent. As city representatives, I feel you need to uphold the 2040 general plan update, which we spent millions of our taxpayers' dollars on, and stop making amendments our citizens don't want, don't need to our general plan. Moreno Valley long ago reached its warehouse saturation point when they approved the amendments and zoning changes by adding 50 million more square feet of distribution logistics warehouse projects on the old 2006 general plan. I think that was originally around 20,000 square feet. It could be even less than that. City representatives haven't disclosed the 50 million square feet in the analysis of impacts as needed for accurate environmental impact reports, choosing to use outdated information, just stating that pollutant emissions from build out of all land uses within the planning areas would far exceed project level South Coast Air Quality Management District significant thresholds. Please vote no and uphold our 2040 general plan update with its vision and guiding principles, including supporting and creating livable neighborhoods, prioritize community health, and our land use community character element to enhance livability and quality of life.
Mr. Zeitz, David Zeitz, will you be using the same connection as Ms. Zeitz?
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, this is David Zeitz. Okay, well, I'm definitely against this. We have too many warehouses growing in our neighborhoods and our back streets at this point. We are too close to a school, too close to houses, as my wife mentioned. George made very good points about how it's going to affect traffic and how we'll have to enforce this. I don't understand why we keep trying to change our general plan. We spent big dollars on it, and then we turn right around and change it. How long has this project been in the works? Was it in the works when this plan was our general plan was being looked at? And if at that point, if we would have put it in as a project, would our general plan been voted down? It sounds like we're playing the cat and mouse game. As for the developer, I'm sure he is very proud of this project. He's probably very proud of all of his projects. They make him money. They make his employees money. They make his clients money. But Does it do the right thing for our citizens in this city? Do we need a warehouse there? No, we're too close to schools, we're too close to houses. We can come up with something better. Why is it that then they always want to contribute to something? To me, it sounds more like bribery to try and get their stuff done by contributing this stuff. The $1 million, the $1.5 million. To me, if you can't have your project stand on its own without throwing these bribes out, then it shouldn't be built. And put it in an area that it's zoned for, that our general plan has okayed for, and our citizens have okayed that. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker is Roy Bleckert. Roy?
Yes, are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One thing to address the deals about diesel smoke, you know, market demand says where these buildings and how many are going to be built. If it's not built in Moreno Valley, it'll be built in another city and the trucks will be going there. That is a phony argument that keeps being perpetuated. And this is what the big key question is. Is Moreno Valley going to approve the projects which are a net plus tax development for this city? These type of buildings and these types of development are. Most of your housing, except for very high executive housing, costs more in services than it does than it generates in fees. Industrial buildings like this are exactly the opposite. If you want your potholes fixed, if you want your parks open and improved, if you want more city services, approve projects like this in your community. Put net more tax dollars in the tax base in your city and let somebody else deal with the other problems. This project, along with many others, should be passed by the city council, and I hope they do, and I hope they take this in mind, and I hope everybody starts to grasp the concept of it's not an either or, it's what ultimately, taking in all the factors, benefits your community on this. I believe this project is a net plus for the city of Moreno Valley. Again, hopefully we will get 3 votes on the council to pass this project. It's very well needed in Moreno Valley. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Tom Thornsley, Ralph Velador, and Fred Banuelos. Mr. Thornsley?
Unmute.
We can hear you, sir.
Good evening again. I've got to say I'm appalled to know that there's financial gain coming to the city in the sense of $1 million for other improvements, another 500,000. I don't know why a developer does that, because that is outright, straightforward, upfront bribery to get a vote. And this is the second project now I'm hearing this in the city. We got to find a way to litigate the city about that. That's just bad. I also have to wonder, like I mentioned earlier, no respect for the city's general plan. If there's an expectation of how this city should build out, then you've got to stick to your general plan. You can't change it every time a developer comes to town and says, oh, I'd like to put this over there and that over here. That's not the way a city should grow. This area of the city was supposed to be commercial. This area of the city was supposed to be a balance of a land use that generated revenues for the city in a different manner. Commercial is good for the city. You put industrial here. Now what you do is you put extra truck traffic on Alessandro. Alessandro is a major commuter route in and out of the city. And it's a major route for all the commercial components. You start adding trucks to it, you're going to destroy the commercial aspect of the city, and you're going to hinder the way people commute. You think the traffic's bad on the freeway. What do you see what happens to Alessandro when you have trucks to it? Only good jobs for this whole project are going to be for the contractors. LIUNA, the carpenters union, the electric unions, Those are the only good jobs you're going to have in the end. After that, it'll be typical warehouse jobs. And besides that, we've already got close to 30 or 40 warehouses going to be out on the World Logistics Center. Why does the city need more?
Ralph Velador, followed by Fred Bañuelos and Jose Garcia.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Ralph Velador, and I'm a member of Labor's International Union of North America, LIUNA. And my colleagues and I fully support the proposal before you tonight. The developer proposes to put the warehouse in the right location. It'll be placed centrally within the urban core of the city, located close to the freeway, surrounded by various commercial, retail, and government uses. With that being said, we also support the developer because they care about the community, the people in it, and care about quality construction. If approved tonight, the construction of this project will have a well-trained union tradesmen who are professional in their craft and built to the highest standards, and we'll stand proud to build it. This project will also produce good paying jobs and benefits for our members. This project will allow our local members to work close to home, avoiding long commutes and spend more quality time in our community, right here in Moreno Valley. And with COVID-19 back on the rise, it is essential that we support developers who are willing to infuse private money into our community and our economy, provide opportunity to put residents to work. To summarize, this project not only makes sense, but would also help our local economy at this critical time, and our members stand ready to build it. For these reasons, we ask you to approve the project, not only for our members, our community, but for our local economy as well. Thank you for the time, and we ask you to vote yes on this item before you tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Bañuelos? Mr. Bañuelos?
All right, how about now?
We can hear you now.
All right, thank you. So the council members should know how I already feel about the warehouses. I'm learning about the situation in our city. It's not in my backyard, but and I don't even know where I stand on this one, to be honest. What it has me scratching my head and saying things that make you go, is something that I found by Lindsay Robinson. I don't know if she's speaking tonight, but one of the things that I'm wondering about is, well, let me read her comment. It says, more general plan amendments right after the general plan was updated is wrong, and further proof that the GPU was a farce to pay back Benzivi and Chung for all their campaign donations. So that's what's gotten me scratching my head. I'm just going to yield the rest of my time to somebody else. Thank you.
Mr. Garcia, followed by Jason Baez and Andrew Miller. Jose Garcia?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jose Garcia. I am a proud member of the Labor's Union. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak tonight. I also want to thank you for making tonight's meeting possible and for your continuous service even through these pressing times we are in. I am in full support of this project moving forward. We have a great developer providing good paying jobs with benefits that many of local Moreno Valley families will benefit from. Our local economy will also benefit, as well our local merchants and suppliers. Apprenticeship programs will also benefit from the job opportunities provided on this project. We continue to support projects like this. We have great developers with us, and I ask you to please move this project forward with a yes vote.
Mr. Jason Baez, followed by Andrew Miller and Daryl Barnes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Honorable Council, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jason Baez, and I'm a member of Labor's International Union of North America, and I fully support this project. We are very blessed to have an excellent applicant who has brought good business and great opportunity to our community. And I would like to give Compass Danby great props for planning this project in such an excellent location, right next to the freeway, which will give quick and easy access to the freeway and prevent any form of interference to the community. Compass Danby has also graciously agreed to pay top dollar for hands down the world's greatest skilled labor force, American Union craftsmen. This project will be built sufficiently, safely, in accordance to law, durable, and safe to accommodate and facilitate the citizens of our community and the visitors coming to bring business and financial revenue to the Moreno Valley, which will benefit all who live here as time progresses. And I can't pass up the opportunity to emphasize how a project like this changes lives by giving local graduates the opportunity to start an excellent career as union craftsmen, which will enable each new apprentice the opportunity to someday buy a home here in the Moreno Valley and sufficiently provide for a family of their own. For these reasons and many more, this project has gained strong wave of support within the community from both citizens and city officials. Honorable Council, with your support tonight, many prayers will be answered. An extra abundance of revenue will enhance the lives of our citizens, and a wellspring of opportunity will be established for all who need it. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Mr. Miller, followed by Daryl Barnes and Janet Bernabe.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Andrew Miller on behalf of Sierra Club. If there's one takeaway from my comments this evening, it is that the proposed site is the wrong location for this type of industrial project. Staff stated during their presentation this evening that the project is consistent with uses to the south of the site. But as Councilmember Cabrera and other commenters have noted, there are residential developments immediately across Alessandro Boulevard from the project. And as you may be aware, those neighborhoods are designated by the state as disadvantaged communities that are already overburdened by air pollution and related health risks. They're rank high in asthma, unemployment, and housing burden. As proposed, this project would remove an existing buffer between those residents and industrial projects and replace it with a new industrial project directly across the street. We detailed the air quality and other impacts of this change in our October letters to the council. I don't believe those letters were included in the agenda packet posted on Friday, but I believe Sierra Club recirculated those letters to you. As Mr. Haig indicated earlier, the project would also expose a number of schools to increased traffic. There's been some discussion about limiting routes available to outbound truck traffic, but I don't believe the city has proposed anything to limit inbound traffic or indicated how it would enforce route restrictions. And more important, if you look at the map in our October 1 letter, you can see there's not really a way to avoid impacts to schools. The city's environmental analysis did not fully address or even acknowledge many of these impacts. So even if the city were inclined to move forward with this project, and we don't believe it should, the city would at least need to prepare a full environmental impact report. As a closing point, I just want to emphasize that under the council's rules of procedure, this project requires 3 affirmative votes in order to proceed. Your vote as council members always matter, but as individual council members, it really carries a lot of weight tonight. So if you have any hesitations about this project, and we believe you should, I would strongly urge you to vote no. Thank you.
Daryl Barnes.
Hey, good evening. There must have been some mix-up. I'm here to speak on F2.
Okay, thank you.
So can you put me on for that, please?
Yes, sir. We'll call you on F2.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. Okay, who's the next speaker?
Janet Bernabe.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good evening. My name is Janet Bernabe. I am the organizing director for the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice, CCAJ. And I'm here today to oppose this project in particular due to the fact of the concerns that the community has brought up to us. And also, I'm just going to read a summary of a letter that our organization has submitted to the City Council. So on behalf of CCAJ, in response to the item listed above of a public hearings for Compass Downtown Center project to construct 2 light industrial buildings is proposed to be built in Moreno Valley and Alessandro Boulevard. The CCAJ is focused on representing the concerns of marginalized and overburdened communities, where these types of facilities and land uses have historically been pushed where they continue to be seated. Such as the project of the decision here discussed here, which continue to move despite the profound negative impacts that it has in the community. Overall, we're here to represent the community and also the concerns that the communities may have of the already overburdened communities that will eventually add hundreds of daily truck and car trips, including refrigerated units to serve one project building proposed for this use. So we want to make sure that the concerns of the community are being heard, knowing that the surrounding area is composed of a sensitive receptor zone, and knowing now that you want to change the zone, which is actually zoned originally as commercial. So I urge the City Council and as well to make sure to oppose this this item. Thank you so much.
The next speaker I have is Michael Chavez, but I don't see him on the list unless he's one of the guests. And then Luis Palomares. Ms. Palomares, can you hear us? Mhm.
Who is the other speaker?
The other speaker was Michael Chavez, but I can't find him on our list. And then Luis Palomares, followed by Robert Palomares.
Okay.
Luis star 6 to unmute. Robert Palomares.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Bob.
How are you? Good evening,
Good.
Council.
Thank you.
I'm listening to all of the opposing people, and they talk about the pollution from the trucks. Well, we have the most regulated truckers in the country here in California, and every year, or every 2 years, they even get harder on them. To the point where eventually we're going to be coming into the electric vehicles, even the trucks. And I remember when they were talking about when they wanted to build the Skechers, thousands and thousands of trucks are going to be going through the 60, polluting. Well, I'm still waiting for them. So, they come up with the sky falling theory, which doesn't hold water. This is a great project. I think that's where it belongs. That's where it should be put. You should approve it. They try to restrict you and say that when you have a zone for one thing, it should stay like that. Well, it's a living document. And I think that the City Council, their hands shouldn't be tied. I think they need to be flexible when these things come up, because things change with time, and sometimes we gotta do different things than than what we wanted probably in the past. So I think you should approve this. I think this is a good project, and they talk about the schools and all that. They always use the same thing. These are the same people that have been fighting for years. The state of Riverside County and the Inland Empire in general is the hub of logistics. It's here. It's gonna stay here. So we either get our piece of the pie or we lose out. You know, it's not the bedroom.
Gina Gianni, followed by Efrain Lopez, and then we'll try Louise again.
Okay, good evening. Real quick, I just want to really put it as forward as I can. I'm actually a teacher here in the Moreno Valley Unified School District, and I teach at many of those schools that are actually falling on the track routes. I have issues with a lot of my students, health issues. My subject that I'm teaching is actually visual and performing arts, so I'm predominantly outdoors. It affects the students, it affects me in a serious way. It's not just the noise level, but also just dealing with the health issues of so many students. And I see it almost just increasing daily. So allowing this additional warehouse to be built and more diesel trucks on the road would be absolutely detrimental. And I'm talking from a standpoint of the citizens here in this city, as well as our students, as well as our staff, teachers, surrounding communities. And obviously, I plead with the council members to not approve this project. Furthermore, I'm actually rather appalled that the city would allow a change of zoning to just please the developers. I feel if that's being allowed, it just shows me that the city is more or less being bought by the developers, and that's rather appalling. So again, consider the inhabitants of the city, and hopefully the council members will take that in consideration, and please do not approve this project. Thank you very much.
Efrain Lopez. Natalie Ortiz.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Natalie Ortiz and I'm opposing item F1 on the agenda. This project will be located across the street from existing residential homes and schools such as the Pacific View Charter School and a Tech Moreno Valley campus. This would subject thousands of children and other students alike to an increase in diesel pollution on a daily basis. And the mitigated negative declaration for the project fails to present important contextual information related to air quality conditions on the project site and in the vicinity. Accurate and complete information pertaining to the setting of the project and surrounding uses is critical to an evaluation on a project's impact on the environment. The air quality in Moreno Valley is a city already that is designated as a disadvantaged community under SB 535 because of diesel pollution, and at its highest is at a 98 percentile burden pollution rate as reported by the California Environmental Protection Agency. And the MoVal 2040 General Plan repeatedly emphasizes that industrial and residential land uses are incompatible and should not be mixed. At the moment, industrial land use accounts for about 5% of citywide land use, and the World Logistics Center will cover about 8% of citywide land use, and another 4% of the planning area is industrial as well. That brings the city to about 17%, which surpasses education, park, and recreation land use together that only accounts for 13% of citywide land use. Again, the general plan emphasizes that industrial and residential land uses are incompatible and should not be mixed. And as we saw last week during the Planning Commission meeting, truck stop developments are targeting corners of neighborhoods in an attempt to continue to accommodate the proliferation of industrial developments, which produces more diesel pollution. Oppose the rezoning for this project and preserve the site's existing commercial designation and community commercial zoning to ensure that existing residents and children are not
Jose Rodillo. Mr. Rodillo. Radillo.
Hello. Yes. Hello.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, mayors and city councilmen. My name is Jose Radillo. I am a member of La Yuna. As such, I am here in support of moving this project forward. It would help contribute to the growth of the local economy, as well as provide much needed well-paying jobs to local residents. And it also is supporting a much well-paying jobs for skilled laborers, and it also enables us to obtain a pension, private medical insurance for our family. La Yuna has apprenticeship program that provides training to produce skilled laborers. This training gives individuals the hours they need to become a journeyman with the financial ability to put back into the community. It also supports a healthy family lifestyle and a positive future. I implore you, city councilmen, to support this project to move forward. Thank you for your time.
Luis Palomares. And then I don't know if Ms. Steele was going to speak on this item.
I'm just here to answer questions if I can be of any help. Thank you.
Luis, star 6 to unmute.
Okay, we'll go ahead and
That's the end of the speakers, sir.
okay, I'll go ahead and close public speaking, public comments. Public testimony is now closed. Let me come back here 1 second. We'll go ahead and move on to council deliberation.
The applicant rebuttal.
Oh, yes, thank you. Applicant rebuttal, we'll go ahead and give you to the applicant if you'd like 2 minutes to review any of the items if need be.
Mayor, if I may, we are ready. I do have responses for Councilman Cabrera's questions as well.
Okay, yeah, we'll do it right after the rebuttal.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. If I may, thank you. With regard to one of the frequently heard comments about truck traffic generated by this project, the inbound traffic lane for trucks will be Alessandro, and the outbound to the freeway will be Cactus via Graham. Keeping that in mind, there are no traditional schools with full-time on-campus learning for children along that truck travel route for the project. There are several schools located along Alessandro. However, they're either full-time on learning or independent study programs, and they're mostly online, but can include limited in-person learning or counseling components. To address the comments regarding the schools and truck traffic, our traffic consultant, Urban Crossroads, conducted a conservative health risk analysis. And even if these were traditional campuses, found that even if these schools were full-time on-site learning, that the impact would be far below the applicable threshold of significance. And for reference, the individual exposure at a traditional school is modeled 12 hours a day, 180 days a year for 9 years. And this information was provided to the city in the attached responses that were prepared prior to our original scheduled meeting. And we appreciate all the comments. We've heard all of the concerns through various outreach efforts and conversations with staff. We've made substantial revisions and modifications to our project. Moreover, above and beyond, we've voluntarily committed to additional and significant community benefits. And we've also conditioned the project to a specific truck route to avoid the issues and concerns that have been brought up regarding trucks and proximity to schools. So again, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Sean, to respond to Councilmember Cabrera's question.
Yes, sir. So the question of the distance between the northern property line and the proposed light industrial building is 205 feet. To the parking lot for that building, here I'll share. Let me share the screen. Okay. So from the north property line across to the nearest point of the proposed building is 205 feet. Per the question, from that property line to the parking lot, it is 152 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and go into deliberation. Council members, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand, and then I'll go ahead and call on you. We'll go ahead and start with Councilmember Delgado.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and fellow citizens of Moreno Valley. And just to let you know, I have considered all the factors in this, and I do appreciate all the clarification by the contractor and the developer. Like someone said in the public comments, I think it was Bob, that this location, this location of this is 47 to 50 miles away from two of the largest harbors in the country, Long Beach and Los Angeles. So it's prime real estate for them. So it's not anything new. It's not anything that that is not happening everywhere else. So, but I do disagree with the fact that these are not good paying jobs, because you guys all know my story, where I wouldn't be where I am today without a warehouse job in my family a long time ago. So the freeway in and out is, I'm hoping, like a lot of us do when we get to city council, or we get here, and I know I do, I take the freeway in Alessandro and I come in and then take the freeway back out. So, and like Bob mentioned again, and I don't mean to piggyback off your comments, Bob, but the emissions in California are the most stringent in the country. And I'm not a environmentalist or anybody that measures that stuff. But what I do know is we pay a lot of money for emissions in this state. So I'm just letting you know that's those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Delgado. Appreciate that. Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you. Yeah, so just a few comments on this project. So to start, you know, there's a few different areas that I'll go into, but first it's the enforcement of, you know, the trucks, the traffic, and the truck flow into the project. You know, I'm glad to see that, you know, compared to the Hillwood project, right? One of my big concerns was the location of the truck parking and the docks in relation to the residential development. So this development, which I'm glad to see, the developer made the effort to move the truck docks and make sure that the parking is on the south side of the building. You know, I think that's a very good thing, especially for noise mitigation and other impacts. So I do appreciate that. You know, that wasn't not the case with the Hillwood project, and that was a big issue. You know, that a concern that I had, that the truck parking and the docks were facing all of the homes, all of the residential development. So that's one area that this project addresses, and I think that that's a good thing. The conditions, right? Earlier today, we received a couple of letters from the developer, and it laid out multiple concessions that they are willing to impose on this project as conditions of approval if it were to get approved. And the developer mentioned some, but I want to just briefly go over them again. You know, one of the things that I bring up again and again, especially on industrial developments, is finding a balance between environmental impacts and the economic benefits that these projects bring to our city. And so with that in mind, I look at every project and think of how can we minimize the environmental impacts as much as possible and make sure that those balance out with all of the economic benefits. And LEED Silver standards is a huge benefit for developing these projects, because you decrease a lot of GHG emissions, water use on the property. You also implement more renewable energies, and all of the equipment that is used in the facility. It's just a much higher environmental standards, and that's what they're going to build the building to, right? LEED Silver standards, which again is a plus. It's a major plus. In addition to, so we know that EVs, in particular electric trucks, are on the way. We still haven't seen them on the road because the production and the manufacturing of them is still trying to get off the ground. But we know that they're coming very soon. And so the fact that Compass and Danby is willing to contribute or set aside almost $500,000, it's about $400,000 or so, to give grants to Moreno Valley residents, right? To purchase and pay for electric trucks, electric vehicles. I think for the passenger vehicles, it's $1,000 grants, which could help a lot of people, right? To help further the to actually bring those electric vehicles to our city and make sure that our residents are getting the benefit of these grants. So I think that's also something that we haven't seen before, right? From industrial developments. And so it's just about how do we continue to raise the standard and how do we make these projects more sustainable. I think that a developer putting money aside for grants for electric vehicles is a big plus. In addition to setting money aside, in this case, $1 million to the Moreno Valley Community Foundation. Again, these are things that we typically don't see. I think we rarely ever see from industrial developers, but Compass and Danby is willing to do that. And those funds can go to our local schools. It can go to pay for more tuition at Moreno Valley College. It can go toward beautifying the city, improving landscaping, cleaning up the homeless issue. $1 million, I mean, it's a solid amount of money. And so I think that makes a difference as well. In addition, the project, if it does get approved, like we've seen in the past, I think it's pretty clear that even commercial projects nowadays will end up in litigation if the council approves it. And from that, I think a lot of good things can come out of a project like this going through the court system, such as the environmental groups like the Sierra Club, or even other government agencies like CARB or AQMD going into court and arguing that a project didn't meet certain standards and they need to do more. So ultimately, judges, like we saw in the World Logistics Center lawsuits, have made sure that projects are doing everything they can to address environmental impacts. And this project is no different, right? If it does end up getting approved, it's most likely going to end up in litigation, and it's going to have to go through the entire court process. So I think that's also, just to make sure that the project does everything it can to mitigate environmental impacts. I think that's a good thing. And lastly, I want to just talk about the topic of jobs, right? So this one concern that I do have when it comes to industrial projects, the quality of jobs that we're bringing in and that these projects are creating. Obviously, I work in construction. I understand what it is to swing a hammer and get cut and bleed. And so definitely the union jobs and the trade jobs that it's going to bring are a major plus. What concerns me more are the jobs that are inside of the building. And I brought that up multiple times before. One thing that I do want to point out, however, is that especially during the pandemic, I think we've seen the free market truly working and seeing that work because I think most all employers, especially distribution centers and tenants of industrial buildings, are increasing their wages because they're forced to, right? The labor force has decreased so dramatically that there's not enough employees, and companies, businesses are forced to pay higher wages, to provide bonuses, to provide better benefits, and compensation packages to bring workers into their company. And I think that's a good thing. Raising wages for our residents and making sure that they have better benefits. That's a huge part of where I'm coming from. So that's something that I've seen happening, and it at least helps to alleviate some of my concerns when it comes to the kind of jobs that are being created in these buildings. So with that being said, I just, if I think, Councilmember Delgado, it sounds like, you're okay with the project, but I also want to hear what the mayor has to say. And then, we'll see how the vote looks. But I think I'll leave it there. Pretty much went over all of the concerns and the comments that I had. And I'll close my comments there.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, I would just want to say thank you to all of the residents that spoke tonight, that came out tonight, whether you were for the project or even against the project. That's what this democracy is about, hearing your views. And, I did weigh all those factors as well, including the applicant's testimony, public comments. I do believe that this project, especially where it's actually going to be, if approved, is pretty much zoned correctly. It's near light industrial anyways. It's in the center part of the city. There's no schools near that area. And I've grown up here my entire life. I know that. And I love the fact that it's supported by our labor groups, our carpenters, our LIUNA groups as well, because we're going to need more apprentices and more journeymen in this area. And one of the things that I've always ran on is to bring more local jobs. So, denying a project like this is just going to tell business to not come to the city of Moreno Valley and instead go to Paris or go to another city, and then we won't receive those benefits and those revenues. In addition to that, like Councilmember Cabrera mentioned as well, I've never seen another project that has agreed to give over $1 million to the community foundation, which can go for a number of things. Most of the projects that we have approved in the past did not give anything even close to that. So I think what they are doing is commendable. And I think that, by them having the support, of LIUNA and the carpenters is another great thing, as well as the community too. So I also support the project as well. I'll close the deliberation now. I entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 1 through 6.
A motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Councilmember Delgado.
Mayor, just for clarification, before a vote is taken, I want to make sure that any motion includes the items that the developer sent and the letters earlier today. Just for clarification, I don't know if we need to read that into the record. Maybe the city attorney can chime in here just to make sure that those are part.
Yeah, I believe it's included, but city attorney?
Hello. Yeah, my recommendation is that if the council is inclined to approve the project, that they approve the project subject to acceptance of all conditions of approval offered independently by the applicant, and that those conditions of approval be memorialized as normal conditions of approval that are subject to enforcement and the remedies available in the municipal code. Okay. So in other words, we're going to take these offers and turn them into enforceable conditions of approval.
So it's basically entertain a motion to approve recommendations numbers 1 through 6, subject to the acceptance of the conditions, enforceable conditions.
Yes. Yeah, subject to the acceptance of everything else offered as conditions of approval by the applicant, which will be memorialized as normal conditions of approval.
Okay. Councilmember Delgado, is that okay for you?
Yes, I continue to approve that.
Okay, great.
My motion to approve.
Okay, great. Councilmember Cabrera, do you second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado?
Yes.
Mayor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Motion carries. 3 ayes. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on to item F2, which is the courtyards at Cottonwood Phase 2, a proposed general plan amendment, change of zone and plot plan for a 32-unit affordable residential development on 1.61 acres located north of Cottonwood Avenue on the east side of Indian Street. I believe these are affordable apartments. We'll go ahead and have a report from Community Development first.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Item F2 will be presented by Associate Planner Julia Decote.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. As you mentioned, the project before you this evening includes a general plan amendment, a change of zone, and a plot plan. There is also an appeal filed. Next slide, please. The project is a 1.61 acre site located on the east side of Indian Street, north of Cottonwood Avenue. It would be south of the existing school and north of the an approved apartment project to the south. Next slide. On December 9th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing, and at that public hearing recommended that the City Council approve this project with a unanimous vote of 5-0. The proposed project is an affordable housing project which will help the city with its regional housing needs allocation requirements. There was also an appeal filed on December 17th, 2021 by Julio Ramos on behalf of the Oneida Street Bike Club and Angelina Ramos. Next slide, please. The project includes a request for a general plan amendment and a change of zone, both of them from the public designation to residential 15. The proposed development is consistent with the current development under construction to the south of the project, which is also an affordable project. Next slide, please. The proposed project includes a 32-unit affordable multifamily residential development on the 1.61 acres that serves as phase 2 to the courtyard at Cottonwood project currently under construction. The project will connect with the courtyards at Cottonwood project to the south with access provided via the existing driveway on Cottonwood Avenue, which will be the main access to the project. And then there'll also be an exit only on Indian Street within that same project. So there'll be no new driveways associated with this new project. Currently, the project under construction is working on a bicycle and circulation improvement plan for the Indian Street area to address the safety concerns that have already been brought up in the area. Next slide, please. The proposed buildings incorporate a contemporary architectural design to match the existing project to the south, creating a seamless flow between both the sites. All the amenities that will be afforded to the project to the south will be afforded to these 32 units as well. Next slide, please. This concludes staff's presentation, and staff recommends that the City Council approve the project.
Okay.
Also, after, go ahead. Thank you.
I said, okay, thank you, Julie. Were you going to say something else?
I was just going to introduce the appellant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Julio Ramos.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that just so everybody knows, the appellant will speak for 10 minutes. We'll have 10 minutes, and then we will also give the applicant 10 minutes, and then so that way it's equal. And then questions to staff, applicant will follow, and then public testimony, and then deliberation, and then motions. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with the appellant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. My name is Julio Ramos. I am here for the appellants Angelina Ramos, the Oneida Street Bike Club, and for purposes of full disclosure, Angelina Ramos is my mother.
Oh, 1 second, Julio. 1 second. Yes. We're hearing a static in the background. I don't know if it's, I think it just stopped now. Okay, I don't know if somebody else.
Perhaps that may have been my chair squeaking there. I apologize, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we're hearing kind of like this weird static in the background. If we can ask everybody to just mute their mics, that would be great. Okay.
Is that better?
No, it seems like it's coming from yours. But we can hear you. It's just kind of like a very staticky.
I apologize for that, Mr. Mayor. I'll speak loudly, so perhaps I can speak above the background noise.
Okay.
I thank you, first of all, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the ability to speak here and talk on this particular project. And also, I'd like to thank members of the City Council for their time here and for their service. As well, I'd like to thank Rene Ramos. He is my brother, and he lives at the corner of Oneida Street and Indian. He is also a candidate for City Council on this board. But I need to thank him very much for educating me about this issue and guiding me with what's going on there. And I think it's important to share at this particular point in time, if possible, Your Honor, pictures of the area. May I have permission to share pictures of the Oneida Street, Indian Street corridor that is the particular issue of safety concerns for the appellant? May I have that permission?
Yes, so your time is still continuing, and what we'll do is we'll put up a picture, the pictures that we have. We'll put that up.
I have my own. I have called before with respect to having access to the audiovisual system. I did not get much so from Julia. I have to say that for the record. So once again, I will insist on. I have 7 pictures I'd like to show the council on that particular project area.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's our policy. We don't show pictures like that, you know, but go ahead and continue with your
Well,
presentation.
I object to that. I believe that that's a violation of the due process, Your Honor. But I will go through with the issues of this CEQA appeal and concurrent appeal for purposes of the record. The issues at hand are both programmatic and with respect to CEQA. I'll take the CEQA issue initially. The problem with CEQA and the compliance of the CEQA statute in this particular case, Your Honor, and members of the council, is the inadequate vehicle miles traveled assessment that was incorporated into the initial EIR documents by the applicant. They do not address the statutory standards of 15% reductions in VMT as mandated by the state of California. They do not address the actual conditions of traffic as currently existing on Indian Street, which are based on statistics from 2017, Your Honor. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there is another noise study that is submitted in the applicant's request for approval that specific projections of traffic flows on Indian Street and Cottonwood will increase to a great extent beyond the 7,500 trips that are assessed currently. And that is a big issue here in this particular case because the assumptions made under the documents submitted by the applicant with respect to the vehicle issues at hand are based on figures of only 7,500 daily trips on Indian, when the actual more relevant figures as submitted by the applicant himself indicate that there are over 11,500 actual trips on a daily basis currently on Indian Street. Now, I don't know if you're aware, Mr. Mayor, but I do understand that Rene Ramos had a conversation with you and he expressly told you that there was a child, and I believe he was a student of yours, who was killed at the intersection of Oneida Street and Indian. Issue because there continues to be a dangerous condition. Now, I heard planning say that that they were working on a circulation plan for the area, but there is no discussion of the specifics of that plan. There is no discussion or even a preview of what the circulation plan will consist of, who the consultants will be, who the particular department head within the city of Moreno Valley will take charge of the issue, who we can speak to talk about that. And I think that's important because speaking on an issue of public and traffic safety is of particular importance to the residents adjacent to the proposed project. Now, I understand that there are approximately 80 plus units. The project currently has the units under construction, but the EIR documents submitted thus far make no discussion of that project. So again, the documents submitted by the applicant are defective because they do not talk about the cumulative effects of the additional 30+ units on the site and what that will mean for the vehicle mile traveled analysis. And I think it's important for the board and the city council to understand, and by the board, I mean the planning commission who had previously made the determination to approve these items, that we are currently in a situation of specific problems there. The traffic flows on that street are in excess of the posted limits of 35 miles per hour. On a daily basis, cars are traveling of 70 and 80 miles per hour. And it's complex. The project is adjacent to a school. Now, there has been no discussion at any level with respect to these planning department or the applicant. Now, no one has even specifically addressed the issue of AB 43. That's a statute that was passed by the California legislature last year, which specifically empowers the cities at the municipal level to reduce the traffic speed limits in adjacent areas to schools and residential areas. In fact, the particular statute that I'm talking about amends the vehicle code to establish that areas of circulation adjacent to residents and schools have a prima facie speed limit of 25 miles per hour. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that there have been deaths in the area, and there are specific statistics on the amounts of injuries in that particular half-mile corridor from where the project is proposed to be. And it results that, yes, it proves and it corroborates that there was a death in Ada and Indian Street. And it also shows that there have been afflicted. Yesterday, I was perusing the internet and I saw traffic reports indicating additional traffic accidents on Indian subsequent to the time that we initially came to the Planning Commission. I stress that because there is an issue here of safety that is not being adequately addressed. And for the city department to say that they are analyzing the issue and they're working on a circulation plan is not satisfactory. The city council and you, Mr. Mayor, must take leadership on this issue and with the standards that are in place. CEQA is a statute that has traffic as one of the issues to be addressed. But the applicant currently does not adequately discuss it. They do not mention the issues of traffic safety at all. That, I believe, is a clear and defective CEQA violation. I think that what needs to take place is an initial study to indicate whether a full-blown area in this case. Because the issue of traffic safety cannot be overridden simply because this project meets the density bonus statute. Angelina Ramos initially supported the establishment of the project. She supported it because she believes that public housing is important and that people of less fortunate means are entitled to housing. And she believes, as well as Renee Ramos does, that housing is a right. And I think in this particular case, the fact that the issue of public housing is overriding public safety is not sufficiently addressed for purposes of establishing sound public policy. So with that, I will conclude my remarks. I'm available to supplement any additional information. I do protest once again and object, Your Honor, to not having the ability to provide pictorial evidence of the conditions as they currently exist on the corner of Oneida and Indian Street. Thank you.
Thank you. We will have the 10 minutes of the applicant. I believe we have, let me just double check here.
I'm here.
Is he? Oh, there he is. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Jernigan.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm a 50-year resident of Moreno Valley, and actually spent the first 17 years of my residency here from the time I was a freshman in high school in this exact neighborhood. I lived there till early 90s, late 80s, I guess the math works out too. But it's important to me to be a good neighbor, and we designed this 81 unit project that's south of the 32 units that we're requesting approval for tonight, with that in mind. And we had big buffers from the residential to the east. We have buffers to the west as well. And we really listened to the neighbors. And when we designed the second phase, we took that same process and that same concern. And we have 125 feet from the one residence that is near us. Actually, it's 200 feet, excuse me, and 125 feet off of Indian. So there's not a lot of looking over into neighbors' backyards or anything like that. And we are cognizant of the fact that there is a concern of the traffic issues on Indian. And if you drive Indian, if you go north to south on Indian, say from Sunnymead Boulevard, there's a stop sign every 200 yards or whatever it works out to. There's a lot of stop signs. And I'm imagining that the problems are coming north off of Indian. I don't know, I'm not a traffic engineer. I know I do have my design team here to respond to specifically to items. But before Mr. Ramos brought up any issues directly at the Planning Commission and again tonight, the city reached out to me and they did indicate that there was concern in the neighborhood. And hearing that, we already had approved striping plans and off-site improvement plans for our streets. And we agreed to change it to help mitigate and maybe employ some softening measures for the traffic. I'm assuming it was going northbound. We've limited the east gate to exit only, so we're not having a lot of traffic there. And my project's not really going to impact Indian a whole lot. And I understand that if there's an existing condition and maybe this can bring light to it, I'm in full support of lowering the speed limit. If that helps out the neighborhood, I'm in full support of putting my support behind us. Let's get a circulation plan going. Let's look at it a little more. I think Mr. Ramos has done a good job of bringing this to light. Any way I can help, I will. I don't think keeping 32 needy families from an affordable housing project that, in his own words, he supported the first phase is really the answer to anything that's going on there. But I do appreciate the concerns and I acknowledge them. So that being said, I'd like to talk about the project now. It's pretty exciting, actually. Originally, there's been a lot of talk tonight about zone changes, and I want to tell everybody that wasn't the intent to change the zone to circumvent any plans that had gone into a certain piece of property. And the history of this piece is this piece was originally slated to go to the school district to expand their parking lot. So when we designed the first phase, we excluded that portion of property. Subsequently, the school decided they're going to change their platform and go to less in-person learning, and they didn't need the parking lot. So we have a landlocked piece of land owned by the housing authority that we've worked together now to come up with a solution. These 32 units will help leverage all the amenities that we've put into this first phase. We've got a 5,000 square foot community room that has a computer lab for the kids. It's got sitting areas. It's got private offices. I'm going to have a lounge just for the seniors. I have a senior component in that first phase. We also have basketball courts. We have a pool. I'll have walking trails. There's a lot of benefits to adding these two buildings and taking advantage of the money that the city's put in and the time and effort we've all put in to this first phase. So it's in my opinion, it's a win-win. We got a lot of support at the Planning Commission, and I'm hoping to have your support as well. So I'm here, and I also have my design team to answer any questions if you have any. And I'll yield.
Okay.
5 minutes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, James.
Jim, this is Bill Atkins, the architect for the project. I'd just like to add in clarification, this piece of land is a remainder piece of land. It was originally zoned residential, and as part of our entitlement process for the first 80 units, we changed the zoning designation in the general plan to P with the intent of converting this land to public use for the neighboring school. When the neighboring school determined that they no longer were interested in the land, that's when it facilitated this need for a general plan and zone change to bring this land back to a residential use. Thanks.
And that's a good summary right there, Bill, of what happened. So that land was available, and basically the school district didn't need it. So now I believe, you guys are looking to see, okay, can we make some use of it? Okay. So Jim, you yield your time, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go to questions of staff. Questions of staff. So basically, questions of staff or questions to anyone, any of the three. I did have a question. I'll start off with the questions here. I don't know if this, and Jim, James, feel free to, send it to one of your staff members. As far as, there was a point that discussions were never made or that there were no community meetings. Can you respond to that?
That's true. We did not have any community meetings. I've built in this town for 25 years,
okay,
and I've built 8 different projects. When we first started it back in 96, actually we completed in 96, so say 94, 95, we did sit down with the community, and we met a lot of I think there was even a community group that we were required to meet with. That's not a requirement anymore. We do reach out to the neighbors. I'm a local resident. I make myself very available. I think anybody that's trying to get hold of me can. So no, we have not had the public meetings, but I am still available.
But you did have, I believe it before, you had some kind of types of meetings when you did the first phase, right? Like outreach, if I recall.
I just reached out to the local people, the neighbors right next door.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but you reached out too.
And I did it just to the east. I did not go across Indian, and maybe that was a failure on my part.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and yield my questions. Okay, Councilmember Delgado.
Hey, James, this is Ed Delgado. Hey, I just have a question regarding the meetings that you did have with the residents. Were they all for it? Are the current residents that live around there?
Councilmember, originally there was a little pushback at the Planning Commission, and then I met with them actually that evening, and then continued just through phone calls and meetings. And I would have to say I'm hopeful that they're all happy right now. I believe there might be some in the audience tonight.
And is this the first time you've been made aware of the traffic issues from that area?
Yeah, as soon as I was made aware of it, like I said, we already had approved plans, and the city engineer reached out to me and asked if we would consider not doing what we were approved and go and do something that would help alleviate the situation they were dealing with. So I agreed to do that. We've redesigned our striping plan, and it's in the city right now for approval. We've accepted the revisions.
Thank you, James.
Councilmember Cabrera, did you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Okay, let me go back here to, we'll go ahead and go straight to public testimony. Madam Clerk, how many speakers do we have on this item? And we'll, Madam Clerk?
We have 7 speakers.
Okay.
I'll start off with Daryl Barnes, Luis Palomares, and Roy Blackard.
Okay, and then just to keep it with the other one, we'll do 2 minutes each as well, just like the other previous project. Okay, go ahead. Daryl?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, 2 minutes. There's a lot to unwrap here. First, I'd like to state, I mean, my family, my father on retirement in 77, 2 years prior in 75, my father bought this house. I lived right on the corner, right behind the apartment project. There's 2 things I want to touch base on. First thing I want to touch base on, with all due respect to Mr. Ramos, to paint the picture of this neighborhood and this area and the intersection of Indian and Cottonwood, and from Sunnymead Boulevard to Cottonwood down Indian as this and from Paris Boulevard to Heacock down Cottonwood is this, Indy 500 track is a misrepresentation. I mean, I've lived here since 1970. That I lived here before Oneida Street even exist, and the project is already going. I don't see what's going to increase in traffic. I've had no problems with traffic. I've never seen no one driving 70 miles an hour down the street. Initially, I was opposed to the project, but got reassurance and extreme cooperation, me and all our neighbors along this street, from Jim and his team. And the project's already started. The 100 feet that they're going to be building on is not going to increase anything majorly, so to, not approve just that little small additional, in which Jim has also committed to building other block walls to other houses that run adjacent to that lot. So I am in approval of it.
Luis Palomares. Luis?
Hello, Luis Palomares?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, great, finally. I didn't get in for some darn reason. This is a joke, the way they have this set up again. But anyway, as far as about the project, I think it's a great project. I go down that street all the time, and there's hardly even no traffic there. I don't know what these people, the Ramosos, are talking about. Gloom and doom. Anything that wants to come here, if it's in their backyard, they don't want it. And the developer has agreed to do a wall there, block walling and all that he's got to do. I think this is a great project. We need this kind of component here in Moreno Valley. There's a lot of people that are living, paycheck to paycheck because they can't afford these high sky rents. My granddaughter rents a place out here, an apartment, $2,200 a month. $2,200 a month. And there's one right here on Hemlock. It's a small little area there, but there's apartments in that corner, and there's another project there that's a great project, and that this developer had brought a while back. And I don't see tons and tons of traffic. It's all gloom and doom. The sky's falling every time they want to put something up new here. What do they want here? I don't understand these people. Move. Oh, golly, this is a great project. We got to bring it. And I'm all for it. I support it. My granddaughter goes to school down the street there. There's not a whole lot of traffic there, considering you're going down Cottonwood. There's not a lot of traffic there. These Ramos should go sit there in the corner and look at it for a while. Really take a good look at what's really going on that corner. So I support it 100%, and I hope the council will support it, because we need this here. It's almost finished. I don't know what's the big deal about the end of it. So that's my opinion on it. I hope it comes. Thank you, and thank you for the developer to bring us a great project like this to our to our city, and we need more of this. We need more projects like this. And thank you again, and have a good night.
Roy Bleckert, followed by George Haig.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once the decision was made to put this project in, the infill project of that is very appropriate for this, and very consistent with the development in the area of that. I would be more curious to talk to Mr. Jernigan about his comment that the Moreno Valley Unified School District did not want to use the property because they're giving up in-person learning. That has probably even more major ramifications in the community than anything else that's been mentioned here tonight. But, you know, I've been around here since there was before dirt. And maybe way back in my day, you could do 70 mile an hour down Indian Street. But there's a stop sign or light every quarter mile. That's the 250 blocks. Look it up. And it would almost be impossible unless it was 3 o'clock in the morning and you were blowing every stop sign down there to do that. The traffic issue, I think, has been well addressed. Again, not disparaging the appellant, but when you're saying things that are not, you know, that doesn't make any sense, or I have not seen in my 60 plus years in this community, native of the area, in the last 30 years, makes me question what's going on. You have every right to do that, just as the developer has to do that. Again, if the school district's not going to use that property, this is a very appropriate development consistent with what's already going up there. And I urge the council to approve this project for Moreno Valley. Thank you.
George Haig, followed by Robert Palomares. Mr. Haig?
This is George Haig. I did not request to speak on this item.
Okay. Robert Palomares.
Good evening again, Council. This is a great project. I drove through there today just to get a look at it, and I've seen what they're already building, what they've got underway. And then, like the applicant said, that the school district didn't want that piece of land that's between what's there now that they're building and the school. So that's perfect, like Roy said, you know, continue it, because we're in them homes. And that's a big deal. Or we leave it the way it is and let the Gophers take over. It's a good project. There's no really big issues that, you know, would stop it. You know, Mr. Jernigan, you know, and the people with him, they've really gone out of their way, you know, to make sure that everything's good for the community, especially, you know, the affordable housing. Come on, how can you argue with that? Let's vote on it and continue. Thank you very much.
Mr. Thomas, Elmer Thomas. Jason Baez. Mayor, those were the last two speakers.
Okay. All right, thank you, Pat. Okay, we'll go to deliberation. Just make my comments real quick, brief comments here. I was here during the time when we approved the initial project. And during that time when we approved that initial project, there was that little piece of land that was actually going to be developed by Jim Jernigan. and his group. However, they worked with the school district, and they were going to see if the school district wanted that land. We learned that later on the school district did not want it after that time. So I think, you know, since we already approved the main part of the project, it makes sense to just to finish it off, you know, that ending part. I think that, you know, you can't have, you know, some of the project already built and then just have that little ending just not there or built. I mean, I don't see what else can go there. If the school district won't put something there, I don't see what else we can put there. And like some of the speakers mentioned, you know, we need affordable housing. In fact, the state requires us to have more affordable housing, and we're, you know, glad and privileged to work with developers and builders like Mr. Jernigan that are in this niche, you know, of developing affordable housing. And there's not that many of them out there because it's a very complex world, you know, with tax credits and all those kinds of things at the state and federal level. So my hats off to Mr. Jernigan's team, you know, for your hard work and your dedication, because there's not that many of you that want to do that. In fact, we need more people to come in here and build more affordable housing. So I'm looking forward to do that because, you know, the rents are very, very high right now. You know, even I believe at the Reserve Apartments off of Merino Beach, I believe the rent there is $2,500, and it's a 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bathroom, and that's over by the Reserve off of the east end of Moreno Valley. So the rents are really, really high, and so we need more affordable housing. Also, Jernigan's project, I believe, does allocate a portion to senior housing as well. So, you know, I think that's a good thing as well. But I do believe that, and I trust me, I understand the concerns, you know, of the appellant, but I do believe that those concerns should have been addressed when we agreed or when we voted on, prior to voting on the main portion of the project, because, you know, we can't just have that area there just kind of vacant there. You know, it's going to just bring homeless folks or just different types of loitering and things like that. We have to do something with that. So I do support the zone change, or, you know, to complete this. Councilmember Delgado.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just want to hats off to James and his folks for willing to go back to the table and kind of modify some of the stuff that the neighbors said. When I was campaigning last summer, one of the main topics that I kept getting asked about was what was my opinion on affordable housing. And it was very apparent that we need it here in Moreno Valley. And even some of my opponents talked about their concerns about Moreno Valley doesn't have enough affordable housing. This is an opportunity for us to add to that area, to like the mayor said, the original project, and provide 81 more units of affordable housing for those hardworking folks in Moreno Valley that can afford a house right now. So thank you, James, for bringing this to Moreno Valley. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Cabrera, sorry, I didn't see your hand because of the glare there. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, and I won't repeat too much of what's been said because pretty much everything that I planned on saying, you already shared that. But I do want to make sure that I thank Mr. Jernigan as well for being one of the few, if not possibly the only affordable housing developer, you know, at least that I can recall, building here in Moreno Valley. And yeah, I mean, if we don't complete this project, we're going to end up with just a vacant lot right next to a school, and I don't think that that's a good thing, you know, especially because we do have a major housing shortage, as we've all kind of noted already, and I believe this is going to result in about 30 or so units, and not just, you know, regular units, but they're going to be affordable housing, and there's a senior housing component to it as well. So I do appreciate you, Mr. Jernigan, for developing multiple projects like these throughout the city. I've toured multiple of those projects, and you know, you keep them clean and presentable, and and nice. So definitely appreciate that. And so hopefully, we can bring in some more of these projects moving forward. This will make a dent. Obviously, we need to increase supply up and down the state of housing, but this will make a dent. And I guess my only ask would be, as you're accepting the applications for lease applications, that you'll prioritize folks who already live in Moreno Valley. I think that would be a huge help. So with that, I fully support the project, and I'll close my comments there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I'm closing deliberation. I'll entertain a motion for council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 1 through 6.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Councilmember Cabrera. I'll second the motion. Oh, okay. Second by Councilmember Delgado. Okay, Madam Clerk, going to call for the
Councilmember
vote.
Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado,
Yes.
Mayor Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion passes 3 ayes. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to reports. Yes, that brings us to reports. We have one short report from the JPA. So tonight I'm just providing updates from the March Joint Powers Commission that was held on January 12th. Councilmember Delgado and myself are appointees there, and we were able to join the team there for the first time. The commission selected a chair and a vice chair for each of the March Joint Powers Authorities agencies. We also approved a professional service agreement for phase 2 of the JPA sunsetting analysis. For folks that don't know about this area, this is the area near the base. So that area is controlled by the JPA, and within a few years, that area will be distributed to the city of Moreno Valley, Paris, the county of Riverside, and the city of Riverside. We also reestablished Moreno Valley's representation on the JPA's subcommittees. Councilmember Delgado will serve on the Meridian March Business Center Implementation Committee, and he will also serve as the vice chair for the Utility Commission of the JPA as well. So really glad for that. And then I will serve on the Ad Hoc Park Subcommittee. That concludes my report on last week's March Joint Powers Commission meeting. Okay, City Manager's report.
Mayor,
Mayor, I have one on the WRCOG.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You have one on WRCOG. Okay, for some reason on this one, it doesn't show, but okay, go ahead, Councilmember Delgado. Sorry about that. On mine, it wasn't highlighted here.
It's okay. And just to go back to JPA real quick, I did take a tour of the entire facility, the entire landscape. It took 2 hours, and it was pretty impressive. And I'm glad that Moreno Valley has representation there. And I was honored to be elected to those positions there. So thank you. The updates for the WRCOG, I attended the meeting on January 12th, and the updates were provided on a number of continuing business items of the WRCOG Executive Committee, but there are no major items to report on. So thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And okay, City Manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Just one long item tonight. I think there was a comment about the city's participation with our educational institution. And I think tonight we started off with a presentation from Amazon for the Mobile Learns project. And that project was actually started by Mayor Gutierrez, in which he was able to reach out to the Bloomberg Philanthropy, which the city won a grant to start off the program. And this is the Earn versus Learn program that was developed. And I think this is our 3rd-year program, and we're fortunate now with Amazon participating in that. And that program actually helps 50 students every year. And this is to help our Moreno Valley residents attending the Moreno Valley College. In addition, last council meeting, the mayor and city council approved the Promise Initiative, and this program was actually started close to 6 years ago. And it was a very innovative program in which we're bridging the gap financing for a lot of our residents attending Moreno Valley College. And this actually started close to 6 years ago, and it's now been adopted by the state of California. It's actually called the same thing, the Promise Initiative. This was actually a program pretty much started by the mayor and city council. And also last meeting, you guys also approved the ACES program. This is an award-winning program. We've been running this program for many, many years.
And this is one of the few opportunities in which the cities are participating with our school districts to run the after-school program. We're able to help 5,000 of our children every year on this ACES program. It is a grant funded program, but we participated with our 2 school districts and also think together to run this very, very successful program. So we do a lot working with our educational institution to really enhance our community. This concludes the city manager's report tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have Councilmember Marquez is not here, so we'll go straight to Councilmember Cabrera for closing comments.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so it's obviously we are having our virtual meeting today due to the recent surge and ongoing surge currently in COVID. So just want to remind folks to be as safe as you possibly can. And I know that recently there's been some issues with getting access to testing. I've had a lot of constituents call me and ask, do you know where there's a testing site where I can go get results fairly quickly? And so I'll try to send them in the right direction. But just in case some of you may not have heard yet, that there is an available supply of testing that can be shipped to your home. So you can just go online if you want to just Google it or just type in the URL. It's USPS.com/test kits. Once again, that's USPS.com/test kits. If you go to that website, it's very easy. It'll ask you for your name and your address, and that's really it. Basically, what will happen is at the end of this month, approximately, the USPS is going to send out in the mail 4 free at-home tests for you to use. So it's a limit of 1 order per address, but just in case, if you need that, so you can have a few extra tests at home, you can do that. So once again, the website for that is USPS.com/test kits. So hopefully some of our residents can take advantage of that, and please feel free to share that information as well. Also would like to talk just briefly about the $100,000 Amazon contribution, which was absolutely amazing. I've been fortunate enough to meet with that team, with Marie Lloyd and her team over the past several months. So, to have partners like that who are open to engaging in those conversations about how do they not only bring in financial investments from development and jobs, but also how do we help to train the labor force that we need for the future. And Amazon is actually putting their money where their mouth is, so they're investing into our students at Moreno Valley College, which is huge. That $100,000 is going to fund the tuition for and stipends for a lot of students. And we also talk about other things, about how we can work with our educational partners like the college, like the school districts, to implement and include in their new curriculum moving forward classes and courses related to autonomous driving, right? Electric vehicles. We're going to need a lot of mechanics. We're going to need a lot of electricians for installing the electric vehicle charging stations. All the money that's coming down for infrastructure over the next several years. We need to make sure that we bring that funding here to Moreno Valley and train our residents to get those high-paying careers, right? Again, I am constantly talking about this, and whether that's
You froze? I think he froze. Okay, I don't know.
Are learning this technology and learning that information. It's going to pay enormous dividends here for our city moving forward. So just appreciate Amazon, and hopefully we have more partners that will follow suit moving forward. Also, just in closing, I believe our next meeting is going to be the 1st of February, which is the first Tuesday, and also happens to be the first day of Black History Month. So I would just like to request, from the mayor and council member Delgado that, we bring a proclamation. I'm not sure if, I think we may have done it and we possibly do it every year, but just to make sure that, if we can draft up and bring a proclamation forth recognizing Black History Month on that first meeting of February, I would really, really appreciate that. And maybe we can even work together on it, hopefully. So that just making that request there. And then last but not least, yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that's why we had a 3-day holiday weekend. And I've put a lot of time into studying historical leaders like MLK. And obviously he was one of he's at the top of that mountain when it comes to civil rights leaders and individuals who stood up and literally sacrificed and gave their life to free a lot of people, and to give rights to a lot of people who were being denied those rights. And so, he was just a huge inspiration. He's a huge inspiration to me, and just reminds me every day to, keep doing the right thing, even when the world and money and power and politics tells you not to do it. So with that, I just want to wish everyone a good night. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Councilmember Delgado.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Cabrera. Just a couple of things to follow up from the last meeting that we had. I did tell you guys that I was going to go to Donkeyland and meet with them. Well, me and Manny went a couple Saturdays ago, and we spent about 2 hours with them on a lot of their property. It was amazing because Manny had a car and I had my POV, and we were driving through the mountains, and Manny had to get out a couple times and look and says, am I really going to make this? He had no idea we were going to go forward by him, but we did. And it was pretty adventurous. But they are doing a lot of good things, you guys, for our donkeys in our area. They're not going anywhere, so we might as well have someone that cares enough to take care of them. So what I'd like to do is challenge you to help. They need some help with hay. And what that hay does is doesn't just feed the donkeys and we'll feed them and then the problem solved. What that hay does is it lures them in to Donkeyland, and it lures them away from the streets. So what they can do is they're going to lure them, and then they're going to corral them, get them used to the environment, and then open the corrals and acclimate them to the other herds, because there's a couple of herds right now that are in danger. The one over off of Redlands Boulevard, that's going to be their priority, and they are already working with our animal shelter, Mr. Freeze, to get that herd over as soon as possible. So they're doing a lot of good work, but what I'll challenge you is I'm gonna buy 10 bales of hay myself. They're $15.50 each. If you guys could afford $5, $10, $15, $20, but my challenge is 10 bales, and you can send that money to 5225 Canyon Crest Drive, Suite 71295 in the city of Riverside, California, 92507. And what that's going to do is going to provide them hay to get them in that area. So again, 5225 is Donkeyland, Canyon Crest Drive, Suite 71-295, Riverside, California, 92507. So they're doing a lot of good stuff for our donkeys, you guys. So if you have interest in helping, that'd be great. Caltrans, following up again on the meeting that we had last week, they're offering to work with us. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but our freeway off ramps and on ramps have received some mulch. They've been working for a couple weeks on that, getting it remulched. But we are working with them to do a lot of good stuff in those areas. Particularly our assistant city manager, Brian Mohan, is working with them. And there are a few programs that we can get on immediately. So we don't have to wait for all the red tape. We don't have to wait for the millions of dollars it's going to take to redo all of our off ramps. We're going to work on those immediately. But more to come on that. And I met with some homeowners about the public safety around the schools. When the schools get out, the kids, they take their time getting home, and they kind of get into a little bit of trouble. So I'm monitoring that with our PD, and we're working on getting them some help. So and what the help is, just more patrols in that area after school time. So Beautify Mobile is coming up in February, and there is one park that we're going to do in District 2. So all District 2. I talked to a lot of you guys during my campaign, and a lot of your issues were cleaning up Moreno Valley. Well, here's your opportunity to help. I'll be out there with my family, and if you guys have some time, come out and help clean up one of our parks in District 2. And the last thing is be kind to one another. I know that we're all doing so well. These meetings have gone so well, but please continue to be kind to one another. I know it's past Captain Salisbury's bedtime, so that'll be it for me. God bless.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Delgado, Councilmember Cabrera. My comments will just be very brief. I just want to thank all the residents for attending. Always amazes me sometimes with technology how many folks we can actually get to attend these meetings. And I just learned today that we've had the largest amount of views today in our YouTube and also for this meeting on Zoom. And I don't know what it was, or maybe it was those two projects, I don't know. But at least we got a lot of members from the public engaged in this meeting. So I think that's a good thing. Tonight we approved more jobs, more local jobs, and I think that's another good thing. I think that's very important. We've also approved more affordable housing, which I have always been very supportive of in the right areas. And I'm super, super excited for Amazon's donation. The $100,000 donation, like the other council member mentioned, is going to help so many students, in fact, for an entire year, while they not only learn, but also earn that money as well. And just so you know, when we first started that program, it was through the Bloomberg Philanthropies, where we actually won a grant and we became a champion city. So there were over 555 cities that applied nationally, and only in Moreno Valley, 30 cities were champion cities. And so we received a donation from Michael Bloomberg's foundation. And then from there, we used some CDBG funds, and we used also some donations from the public. And we did not use general fund money, and we were able to get the program starting for our residents. So really super excited for that, and especially all the kids and the college students that we're going to be able to help for that. I do want to make a comment that one of our colleagues, unfortunately, his wife passed away, Councilmember Marquez's wife, and so I do want to close the meeting. Some of the other agencies are also closing the meeting as well, and I think it's an honorable thing to do, close the meeting in her memory. Her name was Velma Marquez, and so we'll go ahead and close the meeting in her memory tonight at 8:38 p.m. Thank you all, and have a good night, and stay safe out there. Thank you.